What is printing, people? Welcome back to Custom 3D. Now, as I said in my last video, I'd love to hear suggestions about what you want me to talk about in the 3D printing industry. And 3D Printer Academy commented that I should make my predictions of where the industry will be in 5, 10, 25, and even 50 years from now. So that is a great idea, Steven, and here is that video. Also, guys, please remember, this is my opinion. I've been in additive now for a few years and worked in both the hobbyist and industrial industry. And these predictions are purely my predictions based off of my opinion and my knowledge that I've gained throughout my experience in the additive manufacturing industry. So if you have any issues with them, I'd love to discuss in the comments below. Alrighty, guys, so let's start off at 5 years. Now, I've gone ahead and made a table for me, so I'll be looking off camera a little bit and reading what I've written down. But this isn't going to be a super long video, but I'm going to talk about what I think is going to happen within 5 years. Now, something that I have noticed in a lot of people's predictions for anything that has to do with the future is they go crazy. And just like Back to the Future, predicting that we would have flying cars by 2015, that didn't happen. And the Cubs winning the World Series, even though that did happen the next year. But I'd like to say that I think my predictions are a little conservative and are likely to happen. So in 5 years, so this year, last year, 2020, there were 2.1 million 3D printers sold. I believe by 2026, over 15 million 3D printers will be sold. Now, a lot of companies that do industry predictions actually were a little bit more conservative than me. They didn't think this number would happen until 2030. However, I think with the recent push of engineering in colleges and the recent grow in 3D printing on YouTube and other social media platforms, I think you will see huge growth in 3D printing. And a lot of these companies predict at a linear rate. They're not counting for an exponential rate, which is what a lot of industries go at. They don't go in a straight line up. A lot of them, it's like a bell curve. They go up like this. So we're right now at the slow rate of the bell curve, and I think eventually what's going to happen is we're going to hit that fast rate and go up very fast and exponentially. So and I do believe that SLA tech will be at the hobbyist level more efficient and easier to use, and will surpass FDM in popularity. My reason behind this is because you see recent printers like the Prusa SL1S. It's gotten very fast, and I think that a lot more people will be using it and get more comfortable with it because I think within 5 years they'll be more efficient and easier to use. So that's 5 years. Pretty conservative, and just giving you some numbers and technology predictions. So now on to 10 years. I believe by 2031, over 25 million printers will be sold. However, I do think that most of these will be people who already have 3D printers buying more 3D printers, but I do believe that 7.5% of the US population will have a 3D printer. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but that is 25 million people. And how many people do you know have a CNC machine in their house? Not 25 million people. So yeah, I think that that's a pretty good estimate, and we're starting to hit that exponential rate where it's going to start growing very fast. And I believe that 3D printing will be used to produce full unibody car frames for end use, not for prototyping. I believe you will see fully 3D printed unibodies in cars that you will be buying and driving today. This will save vast amounts of money for car companies, seeing that a machine will totally be able to produce the unibody and will not need a human there screwing something in every 5 seconds. And this is already coming into practice now. I think there's like a taxi company in Tennessee that is trying to do this with some EVs. So the fact that this is already coming into fruition now, I think in 10 years, it'll be perfected and put into play in a lot of different types of vehicles that use unibody frames. So now, 25 years. Now that's a long time from now. I'll be 45 years old. And yeah, that's a long ways away. For me at least. So, I believe in 25 years, over 50 million 3D printers will be sold. I believe that a quarter of those will be for manufacturers. I think a lot more manufacturers are going to be investing in additive manufacturing. And I also believe that another quarter of those will be people already have a 3D printer buying another one. But half of those, 50% of those 25 million will still be people, 50% of that 50 million, will be people buying their first 3D printer. Now, I believe by this time, SLS, selective laser sintering, will become the best-selling type of additive manufacturing due to the post-processing being combined into the actual printer. I think that the SLS printer and the post-processing unit will be combined into one. I do not know how, but I think that's what's going to happen. And basically be like a microwave. Yeah, the print will come out and finish, and it'll be ding, and then you'll be able to pull out your SLS print without having to do anything. Now, I was thinking that SLA was going to be like this, but I think it'd be really tough for them to combine the post-processing unit and SLA, and because the resins cure by UV light, and I think that would be a really touchy process, whereas SLS really just needs some sort of vacuuming system to get all the dust out, and then they can reuse it. So I think there's a better chance of that. I think that FDM will only be used for building houses and concrete furniture. You see this now. A lot of low-income houses are being built with concrete pours that are basically FDM printers, and I believe PolyJet technology will be completely obsolete. And why? Because I think SLS will figure out a way where they can change colors by simply changing the frequency of lasers and finding a chemical reaction in materials where that'll work. So that's my prediction in 25 years. 50 years from now. 50 years from now is what? 2071. So yeah, I'll be 70 years old. Wow, that's okay. So by this time, I think a 3D printer will be as popular as an air fryer. Not everybody will have one, but you'll be the cool kid on the block if you do. And a lot of times now, if people have a 3D printer, people like to tell them if they have a 3D printer. And I think that if you walk into somebody's house by 2071 and they don't have a 3D printer, you'd be like, you should get a 3D printer. You know how a lot of moms walk into houses and say, you should get an air fryer. It's healthier. But, I believe that over 50% of U.S. households will have a 3D printer. I believe that you will be able to get working organs that have been 3D printed by this time. Now, a lot of people think that this is going to happen in a shorter span than this, but like I said, I want to be a little conservative with my estimates here. I do not think that in 10 years that we'll be able to 3D print a heart and implant it in somebody and have it being used. I know we have like some variations about it, but for them to be purely 3D printed, literally have it come off a machine and put in somebody's heart, I think that's not going to happen for another 50 years. I believe that food will be 3D printed at fast food restaurants, and unfortunately replacing regular workers. And I believe that all houses, if not over 75%, will be created with some type of FDM, additive manufacturing. And I believe that 3D printing will help us build bases on Mars. I actually did a video on that. You should check that out. I'll link it up here. So yeah, that's my prediction of what's going to happen with additive in 50 years. So like I said, not a crazy long video, but I hope you enjoyed my predictions. And like I said before, if you have any other video ideas, I'd love to do them and talk about additive manufacturing. Make sure to check out all the links in the description below. And I want you to let me know, what do you prefer, 3D printing or additive manufacturing to reference? I like additive because it makes me sound, more professional, if you know what I mean. But 3D printing is pretty cool as well. And a lot of people know 3D printing by that name instead of additive. But yeah, anyways, I digress. Thanks for stopping by, everybody, and I'll catch you in the next one.